Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to Big Data London and, of course, making it to my talk today. I am ANUSHA. I work for EY with the data management and strategy team. I specialize in banking, i.e. financial services. I've worked across projects from data governance, data management, data risk, advanced analytics. But something that has stayed so close to my heart is the data quality issues that I encounter within organizations. So today I'll do a brief introduction of data quality, and then I'm going to talk about the data quality management space as it is within organizations. And then I'll talk to you about 3 examples of data quality issues. These are not exact data quality issues, but an expression of them. And I'm calling them expressions because this could originate from our products, processes, systems. And then I'll talk to you about how the data quality management space needs to evolve for the advanced analytics space. And last, key takeaways for us: we are the data people. What do we need to do within our roles, within the organizations to champion data quality? So, data started with statistics. Census is one of the best examples. Government has always gathered census to take strategic decisions. Before computers came in, it said that for US Census Bureau to collect information and publish, it took 7 years. We cannot imagine that today, right? Then came the wave of big data and cloud. This has really enabled us to store, analyze massive amount of data. And banking on this, we are moving into the next wave of advanced analytics. Advanced analytics requires a lot of investment. And businesses have also started realizing the importance of that, how they can analyze structured and unstructured data to drive powerful business decisions. And if you look at data quality in particular, it has been persistent throughout the data landscape. And now it's becoming even more important we get our data quality right. So data has gained a lot of traction in the past decade, yeah? If we look at visionaries talking about data, we get to listen something around data as the new language. Data is the new gold, data is the new oil. If we read the data strategies of organizations, we would see, we want to make data-driven customer experience. We want to take data-driven business decisions. We want to be a data-led organizations. Perfect, I agree. But we need to get the data quality right. And only when the data quality is right, these visions would become a reality. So when it comes to data quality, there are 2 rules. So the first rule is 1-10-100 rule, and the second rule is the 80-20 rule. So what the 1-10-100 rule says is the cost of getting data right the first time is £1. Doing any kind of remediation is £10, and failure to remediate that is £100. And the second rule of data quality, 80-20, says that 80% of data quality issues arise from syntax-related issues, formatting-related issues. But the other 20% of data quality issues arise because of some greater level issues that are going down to business processes. And this is very time-intensive to get it right. If you look at the data quality definitions of organizations, right, we would see the word fit for purpose being mentioned there. Data needs to be fit for purpose for business purposes, and I completely agree. We are moving into the landscape of data products. One of the best example I can give you is, when COVID happened, governments reached out to organizations asking about how customer, experiences are, how are customers paying their bills, how are organizations performing in the difficult situation of COVID. What suddenly happened there was a data that was collected by a business unit was used to take economic decisions. So with that lens in mind, I've just taken an opportunity to write a definition of data quality, and I would like to hear your thoughts about it later. So data is fit for purpose and is of a good quality if any form of intelligence can drive powerful, trustworthy, unbiased decisions for the greater good of organizations and humanity. So let's discuss how the data quality landscape is there today within organizations. There are a vast majority of data in the organization, so they kind of filter down. They see what is their active customer base, And then we look at the data that is reported, both internally and externally within organizations. And we come down to critical data elements or key data elements. This is where most of the data quality related rules are applied. We analyze the data quality of the critical data elements on a data quality dashboard. We report it to our senior management. And then, if the data falls below the agreed threshold, we kickstart a root cause and remediation project. So what are the dimensions a data quality is profiled for? So generally we see 7 dimensions of data quality. First one is completeness. Is the data captured in the field? Second one is validity. Is the data looking valid and is it within the date range and the expected format? The next one is accuracy. Is it matching the reality? Next one is consistency. If you look a particular data set, are there any outliers or is the data looking, right when it comes to decision making? Next is timeliness. Is the data captured right and is it valid and up to date for business purposes? Next one is uniqueness, the degree to which there is no duplicates within the data. And the last one is traceability. Are we able to go back and say where and how this data was captured within the organizations? So if you take an example of mobile number, you would hear me talk about examples of mobile number throughout because I think that's an easiest one for us to connect. Yeah. So completeness looks to see if there is any data in the field. So if a data is entered as 11 zeros, it would pass the test for completeness. But can we contact the customer is the question. And the answer is no. I can see a lot of you are nodding. So with that in mind, let's go to the next slide. Now we'll be talking about examples of data quality. Again, these are not exact examples. So let's look at the customer profile, yeah. Alexa is a middle-aged lady. She cannot read. She is living in a mid-sized town, and she uses branch banking as her main channel for customer service. Let's see how this data is captured within a core banking system. So if a customer has a vulnerability, we often have a field in which we capture the customer's vulnerability. Yes, we have captured the customer's vulnerability in the right field. And if you look at the mobile number field, we don't have the mobile number there. It says, customer, don't call, customer cannot, disclosing the vulnerability of the customer again. If you look at the email address field, it's something similar. And in a different, unrelated field, you can find the right contact details of the customer. Now, if you look at the impact that is causing, we have both, customer impact here and, financial impact for the organizations. Because if we try to reach the customer for some regulatory, communication, we cannot reach the customer. Now, if you look at the root cause here, the root cause I'm going to talk here is from a data perspective, not from a business perspective, because there are a lot of root causes that we can talk about. So the front-end staff who captured this information in the system, right, really cared for the customer. They didn't want any kind of wrong communication or any direct marketing going out to the customer. So they went an extra mile to capture the data this way. Why did this happen? This happened because the data culture or the data literacy of the organization was not, really good, really great. We need to empower our frontline staff to understand their role in capturing the right data in the right field and in the right time. We need to help them understand the bigger picture of data. This is where data culture and data literacy plays a very important role. This way, we can treat data as an asset. The second example, we know there are a lot of batch processes that would run within an organization. So when batch processes run, data is captured within multiple e-forms. After that, it's exported into an Excel sheet, and then a robotic process automation captures that and it uploads into the core banking system or the golden source within the bank. This is a perfect example of fully automated process, yeah? But what happened, or what could happen, is if the Excel is formatted in number, the leading zero gets dropped. Now, why did this happen? There were no enough data quality controls in place, both within the process and within the system. And as a result, the right data was not transferred into our core banking solutions. Again, the impact is the same. We are not able to contact the customer for any kind of regulatory communications. And in the last example, I would talk to you about the data lifecycle first, and then I'll go into the example. So when a customer closes a relationship with any organization, we can hold the data for the agreed retention period, and then we have to delete the data. Now, I don't say every single data should be deleted. For reasons like anti-money laundering, we can hold the data with the right policies, right processes, and right approvals in place. But this is an example where we're going to see where a 21-year-old Paul was on a bad debt watcher list. He was not a defaulter, but was on the bad debt watchers list. And at 43 years, he's applying for a personal loan with the same organization. And as a result, what happens is the application was declined because of something that happened in the past. If you look at this example, we shouldn't have held this data. Yeah? What is the impact? The underwriter has taken the right decision with organization at heart. He didn't want another bad debt case to happen. But if you look at the customer impact, it is really, really high. So with that in mind, let's move into the world as to how the data quality management of future should look like. So we talked about the critical data element. We need to collaborate with our businesses and understand what are our analytical data and insight data. This needs to come into the governances for critical data element. We need to profile our key data that is used for driving insights and analytics. Features that are used needs to come under the governance. I'll just take a minute to talk what feature is. If two data elements are combining to help an algorithm drive any decision, it's called a feature. And that is absolutely important we get the data quality of that right with the dimension we're going forward in the future that we're going into. So a critical data element should also include features within an organization. I talked about data quality dimensions before. I'll now talk about how this needs to be uplifted to keep up with the changing data landscape. So purpose of a mobile number is that we should be able to contact the customer. And if you're not able to contact the customer, the data is not fit for purpose. So a dimension shouldn't be looked at a standalone basis. If there's any data, it could pass the completeness test, but it should also pass the test for validity. Only then we can say, yes, the data is fit for purpose. Next, we should use every customer touch point to validate our golden source. For example, a customer is reaching us out today for a complaint. And if he's giving us a different mobile number to that we already have within our system, we need to check with the customer if the data has changed, if he has updated his mobile number. This is real consistency. We talk about consistency within a database, but it should be across all customer touchpoints. And we need to update our data profiling rules to look for such kind of consistency and not just within one database. Next is proactive customer contact triggers. If we find from transactional data that a customer has moved contracts, if the customer has changed locations, if the customer is having the same mobile number, say, for more than 5 years, we need to proactively reach out to the customer to see if his contact number has changed. This is a real test for timeliness. Next is smart system design. We need to look at different data elements to do a data profiling rule. Very simple example. A customer lives in the UK. His mobile number should start, his or her mobile number needs to start either with a leading 0 or +44. We need to drive smart insights to validate our data quality rules. And our controls needs to be elevated similarly to make sure we're looking for data at its entirety and not just as a standalone piece of information. Next is automated remediation. Any errors that are syntax errors should be automated and should be part of BAU, not a separate standalone data remediation project. Last but not the least, I would say we need to update the dimensions of profiling. Right now, we are not looking at the front door issues that are not closed that are relating to a critical data element. We need to update that as a dimension for profiling And if we have more than 3 or 4, just making a number here, more than 3 or 4 open data quality issues without the front door being fixed, the data quality dashboard should report red. This way we get accountability and responsibility from the business to close the front door. If the front door is not closed, we'll have more data quality issues arising, and it's only going to impact us in the long run. So we talked about 3 examples in the starting. Let's see how that is going to impact in the world of advanced analytics. So when we use algorithms, we don't give sensitive information to train our algorithms, such as gender or any kind of vulnerability. But in the first example we saw, the vulnerability information was in a different field. There is a chance, there is a possibility that we could be training our algorithms unintentionally on wrong data. In the second example we saw, we have the right processes, but the data quality control was not there. And as a result, a process-related data quality control issue would translate into an algorithmic one as well. And in the third example, we saw how obsolete data was impacting the customer. Now, as humans, or as underwriters in that example, in that particular example, we can go back to old data on case-to-case basis. But with our number crunching abilities that our algorithms it can go back to n number of databases. Organizations are sharing data. That is posing a much bigger data risk. It's opening a new world of data risk is what I would say. And for the first time ever, a data quality issue or an error which is pertaining to a group of people will impact an independent party from the same group. Let me go back to the second example of a batch update process. Let's say the batch update process was pertaining to people from Edinburgh, not because I'm from Edinburgh, but for people from Edinburgh. And if we use that data set to train our algorithms, it could correlate that for people from Edinburgh, a number without a leading 0 is okay. Now, if this was used in our decision-making systems, what would that impact be? Yes, garbage in, garbage out. At the start, I did talk about 1-10-100 rule. Now, looking at that rule in the modern world of data and analytics, right? How do we put a pound value for not protecting a customer in vulnerable situation? How do we put a pound value for not giving a right outcome for our customers and our society? How do we put a pound value for storing bad data in our systems, training algorithms, and having a climate impact and not being sustainable? I would say we are setting up the world for data debt, and that data debt is going to be exponential. So I've got a room full of data experts. Let's just reflect and see how we can make a difference in our roles within the organization. We could be business analysts, project managers. We would talk to our frontline colleagues on a day-to-day basis. Let's use every single interaction to uplift the data culture and data literacy of our organization. Data controls. You could be a risk specialist within the data world or enterprise risk management world. Let's review our data control. Let's review our key processes that are generating data to see if we are future-proofing them. Next, you could be a data analyst, data engineer, data scientist. Constantly challenge the data profiling rules that are there within the organization. We could be privacy experts. When we are looking at the data, let's think, would I like my data to look that way? If not, please challenge your project teams. Last, you could be a data leader, you could be a data strategist. Let's start writing our strategy to say we need quality-led decision-making instead of just telling we need, data-led decision-making within our organization. This way, collectively as an organization, we will move from a culture where we do any kind of data quality remediation on back of a customer complaint to that being proactive, that being within the DNA of the organization. Last, what should be our key takeaways from this session? First one, data quality is achieved by championing data culture. Second, data quality improvement should be proactive and automated. Third, data quality by design. And I think this is a takeaway where a lot of startups and organizations who are designing their systems from bottom up have got a competitive advantage when compared to organizations that are dealing with legacy systems and processes. Let's bring the design under the data quality umbrella. Data quality is part of the strategy, and data quality before advanced analytics. Thank you so much for making to my presentation today.